Hey guys, welcome to another of my workouts. This is a full push day. It is around 5:30 to 6 a.m. when I did my first set of incline dumbbell press. It is really early for me and I haven't had anything, no caffeine, no nothing, so I do struggle a bit with the weights, but let's get into it. Like always, I do warm up on half of my working weight of the first set, which means I'm doing 35 kg here, so I warmed up on around 15 to 20 kg dumbbells for 2 sets of 10 reps. I would definitely recommend you doing it, but if you're doing, for example, squats, I would also add some like 1 or 2 rep close to your working weight sets, because you just want to warm up your legs as much as possible before jumping into like 400-pound squats. And there's also a big controversy about stretching right now, because some people say that you don't need it. Some people say that you have to do stretching before jumping into your workout because you will get injured if you don't. And there has been no proof that stretching helps you. I do just like some warm-up sets basically, and I warm up my rotator cuffs because I believe that you should do your stretching after your workout or before you go to bed, because stretching puts the muscle into a state where it's relaxing, which I would not recommend if you want to work out the muscle, like put stress on the muscle. And the same thing is also with foam rolling. I believe that you should do it like once or twice or 3 times a week before you go to bed. And that is what I tend to do. I stretch once or twice a week before bed. As you can see, I'm starting off with the strongest and heaviest weight and slowly decreasing the weight while increasing the reps. This is called reverse pyramid training. I use it for almost all exercises except some accessory work, and I like it because I start off when I'm the strongest with the heaviest weight, which means I have the most amount of energy for the heaviest weight. And well, would I recommend it to everybody? No, I wouldn't, because some people need to warm up their muscles, and while with increasing their weight slowly and decreasing their reps, which is pyramid training. But I do not need to do it. I feel the strongest and I've tried it out a lot of times, and I've been doing this for the last probably 6 months, and I've been really enjoying it and seeing a lot of strength gains. So definitely try it out for yourself. The second exercise of the day are overhead presses. This is one of the only big compound movements for shoulders. I tend to do them first on every second week, because when you're benching or incline pressing or anything chest related, you're using ups, secondly also your front delts. So if you start up with bench and then do some overhead pressing, you're gonna obviously be weaker on your overhead pressing because you're already a bit fatigued on your shoulders. So that's why I switch it up. So today I did benching first, or incline pressing, which means that I'm next week starting off with overhead pressing. I would definitely say that overhead presses and deadlifts are the compound movements that people tend to screw up the most, because if you do overhead presses wrong, I see a lot of people just leaning backwards, so it's more like a standing incline press where they just use their pecs instead of their shoulders. And yeah, well, deadlifts are deadlifts. A lot of people do screw up on deadlifts. But definitely, guys, be careful when you're working out your shoulders. It is one of the joints that gets injured the most when bodybuilding. So be careful. Always be careful when you're doing overhead presses. So what do you want to be careful about? So definitely stand up straight. Hands a bit more than shoulder width apart. Not too much though. And always engage your glutes and your abs when you're doing it. As you can see, the last set here, I'm struggling a tiny bit and shaking, but that is okay because it is the last set, and yeah, my core is fatigued already, so that's why I'm shaking. But always push through your heels, basically. You want your body to be really straight, engage your glutes and stay still. And as you can see, always when the bar gets over my head, I push my head through. That is not a funny thing that only I do. You are supposed to do it to engage your rear delts at the very end of the movement and your side delts. So you always want to move the head out of the way of the bar when you lower it, like you can see here, and then push your head through again when you're able to do it. This is the correct way of doing the movement, and a lot of people just do it wrong and do it more like an incline press. There's also the variation that you do it behind your head, but if you go too low and too heavy, you might just snap your shoulders. And the second movement I do for shoulders is an isolation movement, ladder dumbbell raises. I do it 3 times a week, and I split it up in like strength day and more a hypertrophy day. This is more a, well, medium strength day, I'd say. It is an isolation movement, so it doesn't really make sense to do like 2 or 3 reps on it. So 8 reps is a decent amount for isolation movement to build some strength. And well, first thing I see people doing wrong with this movement is they just use a lot of momentum and make it more like a leg workout. They almost jump when doing it. So you definitely want to stay still and only use your side ladder head, and also try to use as little momentum as you can when you lower the weight, and also when you try to swing it up, just, well, don't swing it up firstly, and when you go down, just try to resist. It is probably the best movement to get wide shoulders, and guys, every girl loves wide shoulders, so definitely do it. And then when you do it, do it. The next movement I do for shoulders are some rear delt raises. A lot of people forget about their rear delts because they're just a small muscle group, but if you're one of those people who don't do any rear delt work and you have a round back, definitely include some rear delt raises or face pulls or any kind of rear delt work. This muscle group is not really targeted in any major compound movements, so you have to isolate it, and a lot of people forget about the small muscle group. Well, because if you don't see it, why should you work it, right? But no, this pulls your shoulders back and gives you a 3D shoulder look, and it also gives you a straight back and better posture. So rear delts are a really important muscle group that a lot of people don't work out or don't work out enough. And the next movement I do is again a chest and tricep movement, and my basically only tricep movement today is close grip bench press. It is awesome because it focuses all 3 of your heads on tricep. It's one of the few exercises that does that. For example, tricep dips also target all 3 of your heads. If you want big and thick and strong triceps, you definitely want to include some close grip benching or dips in your routine. I would not recommend you going high on reps. Well, I would always stay below 8 reps on this exercise and try to eliminate front delts and chest as much as possible. A lot of people also think that they have to have their hands really close to each other, but I wouldn't do it because you are gonna destroy your joints. Well, obviously think about it. If your hands are like 5 centimeters or 2 inches apart from each other, that doesn't look healthy at all for your joints. So don't do it. This is a good way how to target your tricep to the same amount as having your hands right next to each other. You might think that I'm doing like no work for my muscles because I'm doing like 3 sets of 5 reps and so on, but think about it. I hit my muscles 3 to 4 times a week, and if I would do 10 sets of 10 reps each time I work a muscle group and exercise, I would probably like fry my central nervous system and get like nothing out of it. The recommended amount of sets and reps is 300 reps per body part per week, and that is what I tend to do. And also, protein synthesis is sparked for 72 hours after your workout for a natural, so that's why I hit my muscles as frequently as possible without just pumping and destroying them, because progressive overload is the main driver of muscle growth. So you need to get stronger over time to build muscle, and you don't get stronger if you do every set to failure. If you do every set to failure, your central nervous system is gonna scream, because it is a lot of stress if you go every single set of your workout to failure. Definitely don't want to do that. You always want to have 1 or 2 reps left in your tank. You might want to include some higher rep range work and some sets to failure. For example, I do dips until failure, but I'm smart about it. I do it at the end of my workout, like the last exercise I do, because I don't want to expend all my energy. I don't want to stress my central nervous system at the beginning of my workout, and it only might be beneficial when your primary goal is hypertrophy. Well, thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Like it, subscribe to the channel, and peace out.